for the town.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a couple things on the agenda tonight. We have a presentation from Chief Peters about a canine unit. He will lead the meeting off. We also, we're just outside. We're running a little behind. We have a brand new ambulance from the Irondequoit ambulance, which was through ARPA money. And with the condition and the state of EMS, the board had decided to purchase an ambulance for Irondequoit ambulance, which helps guarantee our residents the proper EMS service. So the town has stepped up many ways to assist a struggling EMS situation, both locally and nationally, and that guarantees our residents proper care and prompt service. So excited for that. So we also have an issue that we've just learned about. Monroe County distributed incorrect tax bills due to the STAR exemption, and we are learning more about it. Our residents so I'll read the exact statement. So it's come to our attention there has been an error involving our STAR exemptions on school tax bills. The county is working to resolve this and we have been told by the county they'll be issuing revised tax bills. It is anticipated that the correction will result in lower school tax bills. Any refunds owed will be sent sometime after October 31st, after tax collection is completed. When the town has more information, we will share it on our website. So if you've gotten a tax bill, you have STAR, you've noticed that it's higher than it should be, the county is working on that, and we will be giving refunds when we get more information and after all the tax bills are paid. All right, with that, we will move on to our presentation from Chief Peters.
Apparently, we're going to have a couple technical difficulties. So
all right. So we will start with our department head updates. How about that? Keep this moving right along. So we will start with our assessor's office. Amy?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Excuse me, we continue to answer a lot of questions regarding tax bills. The phones and the counter have been busy since September 1st. And as you just told everybody, revised school bills will be hitting mailboxes soon. We're not exactly sure when, and we expect to be flooded with calls. We will do our best to answer and or return all calls in a timely manner. We are also continuing to work through the 166 small claims assessment review proceedings that came our way as a result of after the grievance process, and Janine has been integral in helping prepare those cases. And Carol is back to working her normal part-time hours.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Mary Warner from the Community Development.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. We've received plans for the new Aldi's. They are currently being reviewed by the building inspector and the fire marshal. We're busy navigating through our summer season, keeping up with complaints, permits, and all our inspections. We have multiple new employees in our department, so we're in the training mode to bring everybody up to speed. And we're looking forward to fall when things slow down so we can catch our breath.
Okay, thank you. And I forgot to ask, does anybody have any questions for Amy on the assessor? I forgot to ask. No? And any questions for Mary? All right, we'll move on to DPW. Tommy Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just give a quick little update on some paving. We've done roughly 15,000 tons this year, with one more phase to complete down in the Laurelton area. We've also completed all our roads, the oil and stone, as well as the fogging and crack sealing. So that has been completed for the year. Guys are doing a wonderful job. Can't be more proud of them than I am. We're also preparing for our fall planting of our street trees. Roughly this year, we planted approximately 180 trees throughout our neighborhoods. And we are still accepting requests for our tree planting. And just go through the DPW website, and you should be able to find a tree with various species and select your tree.
Okay, thank you. Well, any questions for DPW?
May I ask a question, Mr.
Yeah,
Supervisor?
absolutely.
So, Mr. Elbert, could you, just for folks who might be interested, could you explain that if a resident had a concern or an issue, who would they contact at the DPW and what could their expected communication look like?
So what they could do is just call our normal number, our 336-6090. They'll speak with our dispatchers, our frontline dispatchers. They can voice their concern and/or their requests, and then it'll be forwarded off to a foreman, one of our labor foremen, and the request will be monitored and go from there. So they'll
Awesome.
select what crew it's assigned to and hopefully proceed with whatever their concern and/or repair that's needed.
Awesome. And do we have some kind of logbook or something that we are actually capturing that in?
Yes, we actually have a new program we're using where we're able to create a work form or work order, and that is tracked through, not only through the foreman on their desk, but they can also access it from their email and their phones now through an app. So anytime a work order comes in for that selected foreman, their phone will actually beep like a new email, and they'll be able to go through the work order, the request, if they're on the road or out doing a project, maybe stop by and see what's going on, if they'll know what crew to assign it to, and then they go from there and take care of the resolution.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move on to recreation. Shannon Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. In Recreation, we hosted our inaugural Back to School Bash on August 25th at the Community Center, which was an open house style food truck rodeo at the Community Center where we hosted approximately 1,000 guests that were in and out of the Community Center on that evening. It was a great event. We had a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to making that an annual event. The Irondequoit Fall Newsletter and Activity Guide is out as of the 25th as well, so should have hit resident mailboxes that week. We also have additional copies at the Community Center and here at Town Hall and the library. If anybody would like any additional copies, they can reach out to us, and we'd be happy to pass those along. And those will highlight all town offerings and information through the end of the 2023 calendar year. This Friday is our Movie Under the Stars event up at Camp Eastman. We will be hosting a screening of Monsters, Inc., and we have a variety of activities going on up there on Friday evening for the kiddos and families, so we're looking forward to that event. And just moving into the fall programming cycle, so a lot of exciting things coming up this fall for everybody.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for recreation?
Can I make a comment, Mr.
Yes.
Supervisor? I just wanted to take the opportunity to just commend you and your staff for your fall programs that are out there, but for the summer programs that you also had. I've gotten so many incredibly positive responses about the summer programs, especially the playground program.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Chief, do you have any updates before the presentation?
Yes, thank you, sir. Yeah, we're actually in the middle of just doing, we were doing interviews for possible promotions. We still have a couple of openings, especially we have sergeants opening on 1st Platoon, and we still have a temporary lieutenant position. So we're going through the civil service list. We have no viable list for lieutenants, so we're going to try and make a temporary lieutenant for one of the upcoming test takers, one of the sergeants that's eligible for that. That'll come through in the next resolution next month. We're actually doing interviews and for new hires. We've interviewed approximately 6 new candidates that we're going to be doing backgrounds on. There's a new academy class starting in December, and we're hoping to actually, with recent resignation of one of our officers, we're hoping to have either 2 or 3 spots available for new hires, so that'll give us a good position. We're also still looking at laterals. We have 1 lateral that we're looking at, so we'll go from there. We just recently took possession of the two new ATVs through the Stone Garden grant, so we'll have those brand new ones. They look really sharp, and we'll replace the 20-year-old ATVs that we have out there. We will be doing another ATV course next month, hopefully, with the New York State Park Police, and that'll get everybody, will increase our numbers of qualified officers. We also just took delivery of our 4, the trail, actually the Blazers. They'll be replacing the investigators' cars that we've been leasing for the last few years, so we'll be able to turn those back in and actually have a town-owned vehicle that'll last us for many, many years. So I think that's about it. Just regular police work going on day to day.
Perfect, thank you. Any questions for our chief? Okay, to clerk's office.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Right now, we are very busy collecting taxes. We'll be collecting until October 31st. And we will have help from our new seasonal tax person that will be coming on board shortly. And other than that, it's just very busy in the clerk's office.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Madam Clerk? Okay, we'll move on to Town Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. As you'll see from the agenda for next week, we're continuing to work through code changes. So there's going to be some updates, particularly this month from the assessor's office. The assessor's worked very hard on this, and I commend her for her efforts despite her busy schedule right now with all the SCAR hearings. So that's what's going on with the legislative update. As for the litigation update, there's a couple claims that are making their way through normal processes. Two that we've been reporting on consistently every month would be the Freeman federal lawsuit. That, as I've previously reported, is going to be heard by the Second Circuit on October 5th. That's down in New York City, so those judges will have an opportunity to weigh in on the dismissal. And then there is the Freeman Notice of Claim as well from September of 2022. And you'll recall that there has been no movement on that whatsoever. After someone files a notice of claim, they have to make themselves available for a deposition type questioning session. And we have asked for that, but the claimant has not yet said that she would do it. So that's where we are there.
Okay, thank you. Madam Comptroller, do you want to give it before you're up, or just do it all at once? Do it all at once? All right. So we will have a presentation from Chief Peters about Irondequoit Police and a possible K-9 unit proposal.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about the IT problems before. That was my fault. I should have had better prepared. So about that. See if I can make sure I get this to work. There we go. Value statement. Sorry, I'll be walking around here. So, a K-9 unit is an imperative tool to modern-day policing, which helps save lives, apprehend criminals, preserve evidence, deter crime, and bridge the gap between the police and the community. As you know, Irondequoit Police Department used to have a K-9 unit, and that was disbanded for whatever reason. But I think it's been one of these things that it's a valuable tool that's going to just bring dividends to the department and to the town to actually bring the unit back. And I've been looking at it, studying it. We have a couple officers that are quite informed on it, and actually have been doing a lot of research with all the rest of the K-9 units and departments throughout the town. That is, I think it's going to show that it's going to be a viable tool for the town actually to go forward and actually bring that available resource back. Canines versus humans, if you take a look over here, dogs are considered the most effective detectors with $19 million spent. Research, development, no machine or technological advancement has proven more efficient than a dog's scent detecting abilities. They have over 300 million scent receptors compared to humans. In layman's perspective, you can see that people smell an apple pie. The dogs can smell every type of ingredient that's actually in the pie. So that's why they're so effective at actually locating humans, locating drugs, locating nitrates, or anything that's used to make a bomb or a propellant or anything would be used in a gun. That's why they're so effective. What can a canine do? Obviously, other than just the regular general patrol work, you can see that it also does tracking. If we need to find vulnerable adults that have wandered away, we can actually use them to actually track them on the scent. We can also use them to track criminals that are evading arrest. Detection of what I would like to do is actually get our dogs certified as nitrate training dogs. That actually is, especially with the amount of violent crimes and the amount of gun crimes that we actually have throughout society, it would be better spent than, I think, training our officers and our dogs in drug detection. We have other departments that have those capabilities, and plus also, once the dog is actually certified for that, the amount of grant monies from the federal government opens up. There's a lot of money that's available for that. Apprehension, search and rescue, obviously we have a lot of wooded spaces in the town that obviously if we need to actually do any type of search, the dogs would be able to help with that. Protection comes with the dog. Deterrent, biggest thing that we see right down here, and I have it highlighted, community engagement and community comfort. These dogs are going to be at many, many functions throughout the town. The dogs are obviously a working dog, but they're not going to be like a traditional guard dog. So these dogs will be very friendly. They will be able to be pet. They'll be able to engage with the community all throughout at any type of our town events. Anytime you see them out in public, as long as they're not working, these dogs will be so-called person friendly. So that's the main reason behind them right there is the community engagement that we'll have here. Where could a canine be utilized in Irondequoit? Kind of give a list right here. National Night Out, Memorial Day Parade, Farmers Market, Winterfest. Oh, sorry about that. Touch screens. I'll have to go through and do it old school now. Sorry. How'd Mom do? All right. Well, as you can see, obviously all the rest of the town functions that we have that we'll be able to utilize. Most of the times when you see any of the canine units here, they're usually from Monroe County Sheriff's Office. There's no reason why we should not be able to have our own resource here to be able to sit there and take care of what the town needs. When we rely on other departments or other agencies, we're at the mercy of their scheduling, their availability, and it's something that, especially with the size of our department, we at one time actually having up to 4 canines should be easily able to be sustained. Where could it be utilized in Irondequoit? We have lots of businesses that can be considered a vulnerable location. We have 20 plus banks, 20 plus apartment complexes, assisted living facilities, post offices, 3 plus large regional health facilities, 18 churches, 3 synagogues, the community center, grocery stores, it's a whole full list right there. Seabreeze Amusement Park, we're the only amusement park within Monroe County, and obviously we know that we've had large fights. We had a 16-year-old caught with a loaded gun inside there in 2022. Missing persons, bomb threats, everything that the canine unit would be able to handle on our own and not being able to rely on another department. So. Schools, we have West Irondequoit has 10 schools, East Irondequoit has 7 schools, private schools, Rochester Regional Health Nursing School, and at least 23 different schools within roughly 15 square miles of our town. Out on patrol, we talked about it, proactive policing, calls for service, nitrate detection, evidence detection, officer safety, community and citizen safety, a highly needed deterrent. We can use it on search warrants, building searches, sweeps, arrests, everything that we need to. Package screening with the dog being certified by nitrate to be able to detect nitrates. That's another thing. Recently, MCSO has sent their airport canine unit out to the Super Bowl and sent out to, I think they were going to do the Republican National Convention or Democratic National Convention. Either way, their resources are out there and they're needed. And so there's outside agencies that will pay us all the complete cost of actually utilizing that canine unit. And just because it is such a specialized skill that they have. Training requirements. Initial training is 12-week patrol school to get the dog up and certified by DCJS. After that, 6-week nitrate school. After those have been completed, we have 8 hours of training per month, and on patrol tactics, specialty tactics. They can do it all together. What usually happens is when the training day comes out, we have K-9 units from as far away as Erie County. Everybody gets together and actually trains, and it's a small community, so everybody's pretty much supports each other, and you'll have, like I said, everything from state police to local police to city police all together doing all the training. So it's not something that we would actually have to foot the bill for to do that. MCSO has already promised that in the fall they're actually doing selection process for their K-9 units. They have actually reserved a couple spots for us just in anticipation of this. In the spring, we would actually purchase our K-9s, and we would we already have our selection. We'd purchase that, and then in the springtime there's going to be a DCJS certified K-9 school. We've already been promised 2 spots at that school right there too, so between New York State Police and the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, they would be doing all of the training and certification for our dogs. Equipment. Here's the list of the equipment. It's a rough number. It's pretty close, but it just kind of shows you exactly what we would do if we were doing ground up, if we were going to actually needing to buy a vehicle and buying all the equipment. Right now you're looking at about $60,000, but that includes the price of a brand new vehicle also inside there. So if we actually were able to reuse a car that we already have, you can actually take off this $46,000 price tag, and it's about $14,000 to $15,000. There is also one other cost for that. It's a federal mandate that the canine handlers one that they actually have to be given almost like a daily stipend for taking care of the dog. It's just like, having your own dog, having to, feed them, bathe them, exercise them, everything else that normally comes out. It all depends. That's all up for negotiation with the unions. But I think right now, between like Monroe County Sheriff's Office and like RPD, I think that adds into about another $2,000 to $3,000 a year for the canine handlers, just because of the wear and tear and what it takes to actually have an extra animal at their houses right there. Unknown costs: overtime costs to backfill the road during training if needed. Food costs after the 6-month donation. So we have a lot of donations that people are looking to donate to us, and a lot of places, they're going to say, hey, for the first 6 months, all depend on the size of the dog, we'll give you the food for free. We have one retired Irondequoit police officer who has a security business, and he has already promised us a $16,000 grant to buy 1 or 2 dogs that he would just make a donation to the town. Emergency vets, if needed. Obviously, we have a lot of our own facilities, and we have our own animal control officer. We have kennels right here, so if we need to actually have an emergency kennel situation, we can keep the dogs right here. We can actually, I'm sure there'll be lots of volunteers as far as police officers and looking to feed and walk the dogs and all that stuff. Handler compensation, federal law, that's what we talked about just before. Dog crate if needed at handler's home. Fuel costs for take-home patrol vehicle, that would all be part of the whole selection process. I would like to actually choose an officer that's either in town or very geographically close located to town, so that in the case that these needed an emergency, they can actually have a quick response right through there. That will be part of the selection process, and actually most departments actually make that as one of the selection criterias. And additional training aids or gear. It depends on everything that comes forward from there. Grants, told you before, New York State Division of Homeland Security, Explosive Detection K-9 Team Grant, up to $50,000 a year. Explosive Detection K-9 Team, Sustainability Grant, $15,000 a year. So like I said, that all is, like I said, that's all for dogs that are actually nitrate trained. So it just makes a it's financially smart to be able to go towards actually have a dog that's nitrate trained. And as you can see, anybody can be a canine officer. I want to say anybody. I say it doesn't matter as far as like gender or anything else. It's all in the temperament and the mentality of actually the handler. So that's why the selection process for canine handlers is pretty extensive, including home visits to make sure that the homes are actually conducive to actually having a canine unit, and they actually have, if they have any pets at home, there's not going to be any fights or anything like that. But obviously, that dog's going to be coming home with the handler each day. So whether or not their partner is going to be able to have, want to have another or an animal or another animal inside the house. And like I said, some of the best canine handlers that we have in the country are females. So like I said, it's going to be open up to the whole department. So it doesn't take any huge, serious strength to be a canine handler, but you have to have stamina, because where the dog goes, you have to go. If that dog wants to jump over a fence, you have to climb over the fence. You have to actually lift up that dog. You actually have to do everything that the dog does, because you can't just let the dog go. You are responsible for that dog. You're responsible for all that dog's actions. So you have to be very responsible. That's why our selection process is so extensive. So I apologize. Hopefully that's 15 minutes. Try to go fast as possible. And there you go. If I have any questions.
Okay, any questions? Yes.
Question. So, Chief, if our dog's nitrate certified and some of the other dogs at partnering agencies are drug certified, is there an opportunity to swap or exchange or broaden our services in that way?
Well, so if we have a dog working and somebody's actually looking for a dog, yeah, absolutely. So if the town of Penfield had something going on, or the town of Webster, is there a dog available, our officers could actually go over there and help at a time. Same thing, if we have something right now, if we're looking for a canine, we have an open door to a business and we'd like to actually have a canine going in there and do the track first, yeah, we'll wait for the canine and do that stuff. So yeah, that's the beauty of it. We help each agency out, no matter what.
Are there other drug certified canines around?
Oh, yeah. There's, I don't have the exact numbers, but I think it's probably about 60-40% between nitrate trained and drug trained dogs.
Awesome. Thank you.
The drug trained dog is going.
I'm sorry?
The drug trained dog is becoming less, correct?
You know what? Some of the departments, I mean, at one point, RPD had 10 canine units. So with budget cuts, I would think that it just more fiscally responsible to have that. And I mean, with more of the legalization of drugs and a lot of times actually doing detection work, it really isn't, needed, I guess, at that point.
What's the time frame you're looking to implement something like this?
Well, obviously, I had put, with our budget talks last week, I had put the numbers into my my hopeful budget for next year. If I get the okay, then I can actually start to do the selection process for the officers. We'll select the officers here this fall, and then with them, I'm going to have them. They're going to write our general order, and we're going to actually start to put our general orders together, and so that we can make sure that we're all. We're including everything. We'll obviously have a lot of help from other departments to be able to put together a comprehensive general order for it. At that time, then we would, after the budget season starts, we would probably purchase the dog in January, February time, just to be able to get the officers and the handlers. They can have some time to actually get used to each other. So the dogs will come from overseas. It could be Czechoslovakia, could be Hungary, anywhere that they have a lot of. They use canines a lot over in Europe. So the dog will come over here. The dog will be about 2 to 3 years old at the time. So the dog will be actually fully trained. And there's a little, like I said, transition time with the handlers so that we can get them comfortable with each other before the school starts. And then we also know that we actually have a good police dog that's actually going to work for us. One that's not going to be too aggressive, one that's not going to be too laissez-faire, something that's going to be, a good mix of dogs around there. And most handlers that you work with kind of give you a guarantee, and if the dog doesn't work out, they'll take it back and replace the dog, that way. So hopefully in the springtime, the officers would actually go through that school, get certified, and then hopefully by the summertime that we would actually have a fully functioning canine unit right there.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, thanks, Chief Peters.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now move on to review agenda items for the September 19th meeting. We'll start with a financial report.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. First of all, updates for the Comptroller's Office. Our two major projects that we're working on right now is our financial system transition, which is still expected to go live October 1st. And secondly, the budget. We've started the budget process. I've left copies of the budget schedule for each of the board members for the workshops and the public hearing dates and the dates moving forward. Okay, so on to the financial report. The August 31st financial results for the town. Total expenses are $27,425,000, or 63% of budget, which is on par with the 66.7% of the year that has elapsed. Total expenses break down as follows. Actual expenses, $24,069,000, and encumbrances, $3,355,000. The encumbrances are 7.7% of budget as departments continue to commit to services and supplies for the remainder of the year. General fund expenses are favorable to budget at 62.6%, or $17,206,000. The split here is actual expenditures, $15,569,000, and encumbered expenses, $1,637,000. Incorporated within the general fund encumbrances are legal fees, 2023 projected but unexpended energy costs of the general fund street lighting account, EMS services, installment debt for equipment leased by the solid waste and parks departments, and other contracted expenses throughout the town. Jointly, the highway fund's expenses are greater than the percent of the year that has elapsed at 74.7%, or $4,886,000. These costs are traditionally driven by salt, gas, roadwork and paving services, and materials such as oil and stoning and asphalt. Highway 1 is currently realizing sizable roadwork and paving expenditures as well as paving material encumbrances. Expenditures in the library fund are 62.2% of budget, or $1,738,000. Sewer fund expenses of $2,316,000 equate to 52.7% of budget. Expenses in the stormwater drainage total $427,000, or 45.4% of budget. We continue to emphasize that the expenses excluding encumbrances for the town as well as the three major funds are less than the percent of the year that has elapsed. 66.7% of the year has elapsed, and the expenditures percentage exclusive of encumbrances for the town is 55.3%. The general fund is 56.7%, sewer fund is 48.2%, and the collective highway funds 55.3%. Total general fund revenue is $20,327,000, representing 77% of budget. Real estate taxes of $12,007,000 have been collected. Payments in lieu of tax equal 97.7% of budget at $252,000, with an additional $25,000 due in September. 5 months of sales tax of $2,775,000, or 48.7% of budget, has been received. Other major revenue items such as aid and incentives for municipalities, franchise cable TV revenue, and the remaining 3/4 of mortgage tax are not yet due. Regarding the entire town, $33,431,000, or 79% of revenue and appropriated fund balance have been received to date. At the end of August, the library has received $2,770,000, or 99.1% of its budgeted revenue. 67.3%, or $4,394,000, is in for the highway funds. Revenue received for the sewer funds is $4,252,000, or 97.5% of budget. Stormwater drainage has recorded $883,000, or 99.5% of budget. In addition, American Rescue funds of $22,455,000 have been received. The use of this funding is restricted for the response to and relief of COVID-19. This funding must be allocated to projects no later than December 31st, 2024, and expended by December 31st, 2026. Approximately $18,419,000, or 82%, has been allocated to projects, and $8,123,000, or 36%, has been expended to date. This concludes the financial report for the month of August 2023.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Does anyone have any questions, comments? Okay, we'll now move on to minutes.
The approval of minutes would be August 8th, the workshop meeting, and August 15th, the regular town board meeting.
Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, we'll move on to items for board action at the September 19th meeting. We will start with appointments. And go ahead.
The first one is the appointment of a recreation leader in the Recreation Department.
Okay. You guys are arguing over the microphone back there. Who's going to do it?
Yes, we'll
Jason?
hold it.
Okay.
Thank you. So we did post for a recreation leader vacancy. It's been posted for some time. Shannon hired somebody temporary, and that person has accepted this position permanently, but this will be provisional. So he will need to take the civil service exam, which is coming up very, very soon.
Okay, Shannon, anything you'd like to add?
Yes, thank you. Adam Mendez came to us in June. As Jason mentioned, we hired him in a temporary role, and he just jumped in head first. He was a wonderful asset to the team all summer long, especially with our school-age youth as well as our seniors, many of them requesting him by name when they come into the community center at this point. And he's been a great addition to our family, so I'm happy to nominate him in a more permanent role with the recreation team.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
The second one is the appointment of an office account clerk in the Comptroller's office.
Similarly, we posted this position after canvassing the civil service lists, which didn't bear any results. So from the canvas, or from the posting, we selected several people to interview, and the department recommends Cody Dismang, and Comptroller Marsh could speak to that. Cody would have to take the civil service exam. It would be provisional.
We interviewed 5 candidates for this position. They were all very qualified. I'm happy to recommend Cody Dismang for this position. He comes with computer experience. This is an entry-level account clerk within the Comptroller's Department, but it will be backfilling the account clerk position that was vacated in the Department of Public Works.
Okay, thank you. And this is part of kind of centralizing that department, correct? Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Awesome. So this individual will sit in your universe.
I'm sorry?
Your mic's off.
I'm sorry. I said it's really awesome you found this hire, so this person will sit in your universe upstairs.
Correct.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, next item.
The next item is the permanent appointment of a senior automotive mechanic in Public Works.
Okay, Jason?
Yes, due to a promotion, we promoted our senior auto mechanic to auto mechanic foreman this past year. So we did post for the vacancy. We received some good candidates. The blue collar contract requires that the individual be a town resident, so we did select those for interview, and the committee recommends Mark Lamberson to this position. It's non-competitive, so there is no civil service exam.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
Appointment of a permanent police sergeant in the Irondequoit Police Department.
Okay, Chief?
Absolutely, sir. As I said before, we do have an opening still on midnights. We haven't had a sergeant there in quite a while, and then with the retirement of Lieutenant Kenny Gorton, we've had another opening open up. So at this point, I wanted to try and make one of the officers left on the list until the new list is actually certified.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
There are several under assessor. The first one is calling for a public hearing on a proposed change to local law authorizing a partial real property tax exemption for seniors.
Okay, our assessor had to step out for a meeting, so our town attorney will be covering the next resolutions.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Yes, there are 4 different changes, proposed changes to the town code that are being recommended by the Assessor's Department, most because there have been changes in the state law that governs real property taxes. So this very first one is for, with regard to the exemption for seniors. There's going to be 2 different changes. The first one being that sometimes the renewal applications for the senior exemption are due on a particular date. We recognize that sometimes you miss that date because of a personal emergency. So under those circumstances, that date can be, a late filing can be forgiven by the assessor. This is something that's completely authorized by New York law. The second change as it relates to the senior exemption is how eligibility for the exemption and the amount of the exemption is calculated. Previously, the state wouldn't allow you to consider as income any retirement distributions, but now they say you can do that, and that just seems like a more equitable way to calculate the amount of the exemption. So the assessor is recommending that change as well.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
Is again calling for a public hearing on a proposed change to local law authorizing a partial real property tax exemption for alternative veterans.
Okay, thank you. Town attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This particular proposed change to the town code deals with the exemption for people with disabilities and low income. And like with the senior exemption, the second portion that I mentioned, how income is determined, that, pardon?
This one's the veteran one.
Oh, I'm sorry. My
okay.
apologies.
Right.
The veteran. I can roll into that one.
Perfect.
Amy left me notes. The assessor left me notes very kindly. Okay, so with the alternative veteran resolution, this resolution, if approved, would update the maximum allowable exemption up to the state maximum for municipalities. So the county has already adopted these new maximums, and this would bring the town in line with that.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
And this is authorizing partial real property tax exemption for persons with disabilities and low income.
Excellent. So thank you, Madam Clerk. This is, as I began to explain earlier, going to be using this, adopting the same definition of income as for the seniors. So retirement distributions would be considered for income in determining the amount of the exemption for disability and low income.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
And this is a proposed local law authorizing extension of the real property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance workers under certain circumstances.
Okay, town attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Okay, so previous to this year, the state had, every county had their own section of the real property tax law for this particular exemption. The state has decided to consolidate them into one, so we'll be making this administrative change with this proposed amendment to the code. And then beyond that, the proposed changes that are advocated by the or proposed by the assessor would allow surviving spouses to continue receiving this benefit under certain circumstances. So.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
Okay, under community development, declaring certain equipment surplus property.
Okay, Mary?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution would allow the auction of one of the fire marshal vehicles that is old and in disrepair. The proceeds would be used to help purchase another vehicle for its replacement.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
authorizing 2023 tax levies.
Okay, Mary?
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the town to be reimbursed in the amount of $72,288.50 for work performed to correct violations by assessing and levying the expenses against the property taxes. This would include grass cuttings, refuse removal, securing properties.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments?
A quick question. Mary, we usually get a list of those. Is that anything that we can see?
The attachment to this?
I don't have one, sorry.
It references an attached spreadsheet, but the spreadsheet's not there.
Oh, I have a copy of it here. I can bring it up if you want to.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Romeo, if I may, I have seen the attachment. I'm just not certain it made it into the materials.
Okay.
So we can be certain that
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 it's
does
been
get
reviewed.
distributed.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right, we have
Thank you.
walk-in resolution regarding seeker for Seneca Road. Madam Clerk, can you read that one? Or you'd see it? Sorry to throw you off.
That is all right.
Does she have it?
Regarding
We got one coming to
lakeside
you.
refuge.
Yep. What's that? No, this is the Seneca Street reconstruction project.
Oh, I don't have that.
Sorry.
Okay. Issuing a negative declaration for the secret review for the Seneca Street reconstruction project.
Okay, we have Wes from Labella here to explain this resolution.
Yeah, it should.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Very good. Just a quick history here. Back in 2021, the town board classified a project as a type 2 action under seeker. So there are different types of actions. You have type 1, type 2, and unlisted. So in resolution number 2021-256, passed on October 19th, 2021, the town board authorized a capital improvement program through the years 2022 through 2027, which in part classified the 2024 DPW road paving and improvements project as a type 2 action. Meaning, and the type 2 action means that the state has predetermined that anything on the type 2 list is not going to have a significant impact, adverse impact on the environment. So, and the reason why the classification was made is that at that time, it was thought that the Seneca Road reconstruction project would include only the following: repaving of existing highways, not involving the addition of new travel lanes, and number 2, street openings for the purpose of repair and maintenance of existing utility facilities. So, since that time, we've come to understand that the Seneca Road reconstruction project involves more than simple repaving and street openings for maintaining existing utilities. So the project has evolved to also to include other things such as a new stormwater sewer system, as well as approximately 78 cubic yards of medium stone fill or riprap, just below the ordinary high water level mark to a 200-foot segment of Seneca Road within the bay, Irondequoit Bay. Also a temporary turbidity curtain, replacement of corrugated guide rail with new box beam guide rail, and removal of existing asphalt and subsurface base, installation of new subbase, new curbing, and then new asphalt. So because the project has evolved, that means that the classification, really we don't want to rely on that type 2 classification. And for that reason, we've offered here in this draft resolution that the town board consider classifying this as an unlisted action, which requires at a minimum a short environmental assessment form. So on your behalf and for your consideration, Labella has prepared a short environmental assessment form, parts 1, 2, and 3, and it would be up to the town board to make a determination of significance. So we've drafted that on your behalf. Happy to explain that in a little more detail. But I think at the upcoming meeting, what we would be looking for the town board to do is to make that determination of significance and then also certify or affirm the classification as an unlisted action. That's what this resolution does. Any questions on the project in general or seeker?
Are we going to get copies of 1, 2, and 3?
Yep, we can get you copies of parts
Thank
1,
you.
2, and 3. There are some attachments that we didn't provide to the attorney earlier this week. She does have a copy of parts 1, 2, and 3, but there are some attachments that would go along with that, including some correspondence from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, as well as New York State Parks, Rec, and Historic Preservation. So we'll get you copies of that.
Would love to see that. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else, Peter?
Nope.
No, okay. Thank you very much, Wes.
Yep.
Okay, move on to the next item.
Under police, we have authorizing attendance at the 23rd annual session of the Great Lakes Leadership Seminar, Law Enforcement Executive Training, put on by the FBI.
Chief?
Yes, sir. This is actually for command level development. It goes from October 1st to October 6th. It'll actually take place in Niagara Falls, and I'm going to be sending one of my captains there to actually get some more higher level leadership training.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
Next item is to declare any surplus items and authorizing the auction or destruction of those items.
Okay, Chief?
Yes, this is for our old command post. It's about 30 years old. It's beyond repair and usable usable life at this time, and quite frankly, it hasn't been used in over a year, so it just sits. And at this point, we just a request to actually sell it and get it out of our fleet.
Okay, any questions or comments? Perhaps someone making a new Breaking Bad would want that beauty out there. All right, next item.
Authorizing two officers to attend the New York State Stop DWI Conference.
Okay, Chief?
Yes, this is to send two of our DWI officers to the Utica Stop DWI Conference. It's a 2-day, almost like a train-the-trainer type conference, and utilizing best practices and latest technology, and how we can actually make more of those DWI arrests and keep the town safer.
Okay, any questions or comments? All right, I see this is in Utica. Maybe we could get Andrew Dean to host them instead of putting them up in a
I'm sure
hotel.
Andrew
So
would love
Andrew
that.
loved that, right? All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, next item.
Authorizing attendance to the Property Room online training seminar.
Okay, Chief?
Yes, this is for, this will actually be for Officer Lawton. It's going to be an online course. Since he has taken over the property clerk's position in the spring, this was actually a recommendation from the Bonadio Group as far as getting him certified into the International Association of Property Clerks and Evidence Technicians. And he'll be able to complete the course over 30 days while he's at work, and then he'll be certified. And obviously, it's best case practices and how to handle evidence and secure property to obviously the high standards that we need to have.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
Accepting donation from Armor Security and Protection Group.
Okay, Chief?
Yes, this was the what I spoke about in the K-9 presentation. Larry Donk, who is a former Irondequoit investigator, or actually a police officer, he has his own armor security group, does mostly commercial security, and he is looking to, he already sent us a letter of intent. I wanted to donate the $16,000 for the purchase of either 1 or 2 dogs to get the K-9 unit started again.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? All right.
The last issuance of armor securities, this misspelled in the, I'm not sure it's germane, but
All right. We will make those corrections and move on to the next item.
Next item are under the Department of Public Works, authorizing the supervisor to sign an easement agreement with Monroe County Water Authority.
Okay, Mr. Albert?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This would allow you to sign an agreement to replace and for the Water Authority to maintain a much-needed replacement of a new water main that will extend from Titus Avenue to roughly 257 Kings Highway North. They'll be going through the property at 117 Kings Highway North.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
Regarding permanent easement agreement on Huntington Hills.
Okay, Mr. Albert?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This will allow us to have a permanent easement, for some much-needed work, some slope stabilization, as you'll see in a future resolution, to allow us to access that entire area on Huntington Hills, center entrance.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
Authorizing the supervisor to enter into a contract for generator maintenance and repair services at various town facilities.
Okay, Mr. Albert?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This is a RFP that went out to request maintenance on all our generators, not only for our backup facilities, but also for our vehicle generators. We have roughly around 23 generators here in town.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, looks like we have Recreation has 2 walk-ups. Do you have those available? Are they in the packet?
Recreation.
They're where? End of the packet? Sorry, Barb, I'm going out of order here. So,
Well, there is one more for
DPW? All right, go ahead.
It's concerning the award of bid for Huntington Hills Center Entrance Slope Stabilization Project.
Thank you. This would allow us to proceed with a request to stabilize the center entrance of Huntington Hills Center entrance. Bids went out and were approved.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments?
Quick question. Mr. Albert, could you tell us what the plan is for that stabilization project?
So what the plan is that there's a few houses as you go down center entrance on Huntington Hills to help restabilize the hill to make it obviously safer for not only for us plowing, but also for the residents to travel back and forth to their houses.
Are they using the core anchoring like we did on Kings Highway or mesh cover?
I believe so, yes.
The core anchoring.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Under Supervisor, authorizing the supervisor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Irondequoit Art Club.
Okay, this agreement goes to work with the art club to supply various art classes and other amenities to the town, and the town will in return supply some space for the art club to conduct those classes and some art shows. So, anyone have any questions or comments regarding those? Okay, next item.
Under Town Clerk, approving the special event license for the annual Run Like Hell 5K race.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
And that is an event that has happened annually. It's very well attended. All the approvals are in.
Okay, anyone have any questions or comments? Okay, next item.
Well, I have recreation walk-ins.
Okay.
So the first one is authorizing contract with referees for Fall 2023 Women's Soccer League.
Okay, Director of Recreation.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution will allow us to move forward with our officials for the Women's Fall Soccer League that starts this month.
Okay, any questions or comments? Is this a new league or same?
Same league. We do a spring and a fall session.
Okay. All right, next item.
The second one is authorizing the supervisor to enter into a contract for screen rental for 2023 Movies Under the Stars.
Okay, Shannon.
Thank you. And this resolution will allow us to move forward with the screen and subsequent equipment necessary to offer our drive-in movies under the Stars series later this month and moving into October as well.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, last item.
Well, I have public hearing regarding establishing the Lakeside Refuge District.
Okay, Town Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. You all may recall that in the spring, there was a lot of activity around collecting petitions to establish refuge districts. One of the proposed districts came through with enough support as measured by the percentage of assessed real property within the town signing the petition, and that's the Lakeside Refuge District. So this particular resolution would call for a public hearing that would be at a special meeting. At this point, we don't have the exact amount of money that the annual fees that would be charged with this refuge district. We have a range, $250 to $300 with a maximum of $375. The exact amount will be determined after it's put out to bid, which we expect will happen very shortly, and we'll have that final number before the public hearing on the 27th.
Okay, thank you. And that public hearing is just regarding this particular neighborhood, correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. It's just the houses that we're proposing to be in the Lakeside Refuge District, not all the districts, and it's certainly not town-wide.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone have questions or comments?
I have a question, please. So when I'm looking at this, this is the first time I've seen this, but I'm looking at this and I'm looking at a 57.24%, and I'm thinking, wow. So that's telling me almost half the people in that district did not want to have this. How are we notifying all the people in this district that there's a public hearing, that they need to have a voice at the table?
So certainly it will be published as required under normal law. We could go further and send individual mailings.
I would ask if the supervisor thinks it's worthy, and if we have money in our budget, that we let these folks know. My fear is that someone came to my door, knocked at my door. I said, no, I didn't want this. I probably didn't think about it again. A lot of time has lapsed. I might not even realize there's a public hearing, and I might get pushed into something I really didn't want. A 57% is a pretty slim margin.
Yeah, so we will get the notifications out. I will also ask, that particular neighborhood has a pretty strong Facebook page, so possibly they can put that out as well. They're not required to, but if they want to do it properly, it would be great for them to do that. So
Awesome.
we could do that.
And I think the number, if the paperwork I'm reading it correctly, is 86 households that the Lakeside District would. My question is going to be, I mean, it seems like a fairly low number of households relating to Irondequoit, and now if we start adding on more and more of these, are we going to just have like hundreds of refuge districts potentially that it's going to be really unruly for the town to manage as we move forward? I mean, I know like lighting districts, I think there's only like 15 in the town or something like that. But if refuge, just, I don't know how this mechanism works. Is it global?
Yeah, so I think Pittsburgh started off with 3 or 4. They're up to 9 to 12, I think, around that
they're
range,
close
right?
to 12 now. And
12,
so,
yeah,
yes,
so
Peter, that could happen. I mean, we could have little sporadic things popping up all over. So I think something else that we have to really think about and consider is there were multiple areas that went out with petitions, and all of them came back with a negative response except for this one. And this one is a very fine,
Right.
positive response. And I think we have to think about that. We need to hear from our residents about that and see how they're feeling.
I mean, judging by, my refuse bill, I mean, it does seem like there's some discount for these people.
Oh, for sure.
But are there any administrative costs that the town entails that pass on, or that's
no, there's not. So, and within this bid, or within this package, if the bid comes back where it's not a savings, then that disqualifies the district, right? So if a bunch of bids went out and monthly price is going to be on average higher than what most of the districts are paying, there's a trigger in there that this is only set up for them if they're going to save a certain amount of money per year for the district. Is that answering your question at all or no?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, yes, it answers my question.
Yeah.
I haven't, because like these refuse bills seem to like change a lot yearly, and it's hard, I mean, one year, mine's 350 and next 500.
Yeah.
And you don't really know how these things are going to change, and then I don't, it's.
So they would be under contract, so that price would be within the contract. So if it was a 3-year contract, they would see that out, and they can't change within that contract. Once that contract's up, whether it's 1 year or 5 year, 3 year, it goes out to bid, and you go right back to the same process. There's an out clause there if those prices were to go up so high that it wouldn't make sense for the district. But the contract itself would determine the prices, which I assume you don't have a 3-year contract with your waste hauler to secure those prices.
I did.
You did?
A couple of years, I think I won a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And who's in charge, who is the town is in charge of like going out to bid every year then?
Well, it depends how long the contract is, but the town, we're responsible as a town to go out for bid.
Who at the town, I guess, like, what department?
So at this point, the comptroller's office prepared the bid documents for this one that's coming up. Certainly with input from the supervisor's office and comments that we heard from the public during the meetings that occurred in the spring. Going forward, it's a bid process, so it's pretty standardized.
I can't imagine. I just look around my neighborhood and some people have little totes for recyclables. Some people have 2 giant totes and I have 1 and they have big, man, okay. It'll be a wild ride until we get this worked out.
And it could be really effective and it could work, but the other thing that I think is our responsibility for the residents is to make people completely aware of how it works.
Right.
So if we all lived on a street and our street was part of this district, we were part of this district, and the public hearing comes and goes, and this board at that time says, yes, move forward, you're in that district. Whether you want to be or not, whether you said yes or no doesn't matter anymore. You're in that district, and I just think it's important that residents fully understand that.
Yeah. And I think, if you don't return your garbage cans too, you get charged and things like that, which,
I don't know. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that we're being very, very clear.
Right.
Because, again, 50% margin is a slim margin. We need to make really sure residents understand.
right.
And I think in there it tells you who voted yes and no, so there's,
And it was based on assessed value. It's not necessarily, I didn't go through and count them. I mean,
Correct.
it could be weighted one way
Correct.
where it could be fewer than 50% of the households.
Correct.
yeah, they had more households than assessed value. Am I remembering that correct, or was it right on par?
I haven't done the calculation. I
Yeah.
think it's roughly 50-50,
Okay,
but 57% of the value.
Yes.
yeah, okay. All right. So with that, we have 2 items for board action tonight. Madam Clerk, can you please read those?
Number 1, authorizing the permanent appointment of an office clerk 4 in the Community Development Department.
Do we have copies of these?
Okay, yep. Motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
They should have been on your workshop
Oh,
packet.
I did not have them on, I didn't have it either, but the attorney steal it from John.
Sorry, I just want to make sure
Sorry.
I know what I'm voting on.
Yeah. All right, Jason's not here, so Mary?
Thank you. This resolution would authorize the appointment of Carol Haney as an office clerk 4 in the Community Development Department. She was selected from an existing civil service list, and we're happy to welcome her to our team.
Okay, any questions or comments? Kimmy, have you had time enough to
I'm
review
good.
that?
Okay.
Okay. All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. This resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Declaring certain equipment as surplus property. Thank you.
Oh, here they all are. They're all put together.
Peter is stealing it.
No, the attorney stole it from
That's
John and
it.
handed it to me.
We're done, Pete.
I'm completely,
Suppressing information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
they're just all put together on John's desk, I guess.
motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This would help us surplus some miscellaneous equipment between the DPW highway and parks. One of them being our old topsoil barn located back here on Kings Highway, which will help us make room for our new backyard project.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments?
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
And I'm not being picky, part of it might be because I didn't know or see this, but why are we doing this at workshop instead of town board? Is there like a pressing reason we have to do this?
Yeah, we need to get it off of our property.
Oh,
So
okay.
we
Thank
are
you
we
very
are
much.
moving. Yeah, our project back there is moving at warp
Gotta go.
speed, and the quicker we can get that out of here, the better. So we do hopefully have some interested bidders, and part of the bid, I believe, is them to come and disassemble it. So
Yes, they would be responsible for taking the entire building apart and then also removing it off the property.
yep. So yeah.
Great
So
answer.
yep. So yep.
Thank you.
We're backyard project and the permanent farmers market is moving forward. Like I said, at great speed. We're losing weather as we move here, so we want to. It was thought best to give a week to any time is valuable. So,
Gotcha.
all right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution's been adopted. This concludes our workshop meeting of September 12th, 2023. Our next meeting is a regular town board meeting on Tuesday, September 19th at 7 p.m. here in the Broderick Room. Can I please have a motion to adjourn?
Moved?
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. This meeting has been adjourned.